Hey, what's up everyone? I'm about to do a mod to the 80 series, which is again something I've believed in for a long time. This could be either a really good idea or I could be flirting with Murphy's Law. Welcome back everyone. Before I get down to today's video and I tell you what I'm about to do to the 80 series, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscription button and the notification bell because my channel is all about sharing my experiences in overlanding with the rest of the community, and I bring out a video every single week. Okay, so before I get down to telling you what it is exactly I'm doing, let me give you a bit of a backstory. Most of the time when we go touring, it's usually the two of us, myself and a Johnny. So for that reason, this entire 80 series has been built around our requirements for extended periods of travel. With that in mind, I've always carried, as long as I can remember, I have always carried two spare wheels. In fact, most overlanders who travel remote, especially here in Australia, will carry two spare wheels. Now, in my case, I've done the same. However, my configuration for the two spare wheels has been one on a swing out arm, single swing out arm at the back of the vehicle, and the second one always where this one right here where it is when it comes out of the factory. I didn't go for one of those wheel carriers at the back with two swing out arms, and that's because for me it's all about keeping weight down, and wheel carriers for me is dead weight. You might be thinking, well, does this not compromise my departure angles? Well, for my kind of traveling, which is usually touring, I have a 2-inch lift, I have 33-inch tires, so the ground clearance I've got is pretty adequate, so I can get away with this. What that's also meant is I cannot put a long range fuel tank here, and the 80 series, particularly a petrol 80 like what I've got, is not the most economical of vehicles. In fact, it just guzzles petrol. So for that, in a long distance remote travels where I cannot find fuel that easily, I've always carried up to 4 jerry cans on the roof. That's 80 liters of extra fuel, and that's given me pretty good range coupled with the tanks that the vehicle came with from the factory. But that what also that means is I've got 80 kilos of fluid up there, and petrol is not the most safest of fluids to carry around compared to diesel. And then every time I need to fill up the tank, I've got to go up there and bring 20 kilos down at a time, which I don't particularly enjoy. For me, traveling has to always be easy, convenient, and I don't really look forward to bringing 20 kilos down to fill the tank up every time I need to do so. So therefore, given a lot of thought, and I've decided to get rid of this tire and in place put a long range tank. Now keep watching this video because in a little while I'm going to take you with me to my good friends at Opposite Lock in Windsor Gardens, Adelaide. They've always done my fit out. I'm not sponsored by Opposite Lock, but I'd really like the service they give me, and they're going to do a fit out for me, so stick around. So coming back to it, so what I've been thinking, and this is where I said this might turn out to be a really good idea, or I could just be flirting with Murphy's Law, because the time we decide to change something, that's when something could go wrong when I'm traveling. So I'm going to get rid of this tire, and instead of carrying a second spare wheel, I've decided to carry extra tubes, extra repair kits, and try and work with one spare wheel. Now you might think, well, easy as, why don't you just take the second wheel and put it on the roof? Well, yes, depending on the type of trip I'm doing, if it is extremely remote trip, maybe like crossing the Simpson or something, I will probably do that. But most of the time I'm trying to avoid doing that too, because that means another 40 to 50 kilos on the roof. I'm going to have to go and bring that down if I needed to, which I really don't look forward to. So with that in mind, come with me and let's go to Opposite Lock and get this baby fitted out with a long range tank. End of the video, I will tell you what extra range I'm going to get out of this tank.
Absolutely. So change your capacity up to 190 litres, so it should be a good thing. Get you off-road a bit further without jerry cans.
Yeah, that's true. So that's the new tank that's going to go into my 80 series. Yeah, it's completely empty as far as I know. Yeah, as far as the gauge is concerned, it's definitely empty. A bit of a surprise when I brought the 80 in to put in the tank. Chris said to me, I need to get a new steering damper, so I went for this. Well, he recommended this adjustable steering damper, and it's a return to center. So that's pretty awesome, and looks pretty wicked too. So yeah, got two things done in one go. Okay, everyone, this is Chris and Caleb at opposite Lock Windsor Gardens. I always come here. These guys are awesome, and they put in the tank for me.
Absolutely. And steering dampener.
And steering dampener, yes, that was a bonus. Didn't plan for that. So that's there you go, that's the new tank. Right underneath, goes flush where the spare wheel was. All right, I just picked up the 80 from opposite Lock, the tank's in it, drove down to the nearest servo and filled the tank up. And I was in for a pleasant surprise because the specifications was the tank is a 190 litre tank. But when I filled it up, it went up to 220 litres, to be exact, 222. So that was 30 litres more than I imagined. So that was fantastic because what Chris at opposite Lock tells me that the usable is 190 litres, but they always leave a little extra.
Hello, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris, it's Duncan.
Hello.
Okay, I just filled up the tank and it took it 222.
222, yep. And the reason for that is that so it's 190 litres usable capacity.
Right.
And plus probably a little bit of reserve.
So what that means is that I don't necessarily have a tank won't empty at the 190 mark. You still got a little bit more to travel and get filled up, if that's what's the case is. So that's pretty awesome. So what that means is I got 220 liters in my auxiliary tank, the new one that's just been installed. And by the way, I'm going to put in a picture somewhere during the video comparing the tank that was removed and the new tank that went in, and you will see the size difference. It's huge. So anyway, so 220 liters in my auxiliary, and then the standard main tank that came with the 80 series from the factory is a 95 liter tank. So that gives me a total literage of 315 liters in total. Now, of course, I'm not going to always have this filled up to the top when I'm traveling. It'll fill up. I'll work it out depending on the trip I'm doing and how far apart filling points or service stations are. So I have to control my weight. I'm not just going to carry dead weight. That's kind of stating the obvious. Now, coming back to range, what I like about this is now 315 liters, and usually from experience on the blacktop, I get about 5.5 kilometers to the liter. It's not the most economical of vehicles. We all know that. So at 5.5 kilometers per liter, at 315, that should give me about 1,700 kilometers of range. When I get off-road, and if I'm on high range, again from experience, high range, all four wheels driving, I get generally about 4.5 kilometers per liter. So that means if I'm on high range off-road, 315 liters at 4.5 kilometers per liter, I get 1,400. If I go to a worst case scenario where I'm constantly on low range through thick sand or whatever, 315 liters, and let's make it really, really bad and say 2.5 kilometers per liter, I will still get 787, almost, let's say 750 kilometers. So if I'm, say, crossing the Simpson Desert, for example, and if I work on that worst case scenario, then I can still cross the Simpson from Mount Day to Birdsville, and I'll still have enough fuel in the tank. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell because I bring out a overlanding related video every single week. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon in another video.